With us now, Dr. Walid Phares is a foreign policy expert and the author of many books, including Iran, Imperialist Republic. Good to have you with us again, Walid. So, according to reports, there's no panic in Tehran, but this is the biggest blow to the Shia Crescent in a very long time, isn't it? What next for Tehran, do you think?
Well, first of all, your assessment is correct. This is the biggest defeat for the Khomeini regime in Iran since its inception, 1979. I mean, they don't have an access to the Eastern Mediterranean, yet still have the control of Iraq via the militias they feed and train. Question immediately, west of that line of Iraq, what will happen to Hezbollah in Lebanon? I mean, they are surrounded, they are armed. The forces in Syria are not their friends anymore. So that would be the first question. Second, the money that they have been sending, the hundreds of millions of dollars to Hezbollah and other militias propping up Assad, all of that will have to be revised by this regime. My projection, just a very early projection, is what happened in Syria is going to encourage other rebels in Iraq and potentially later on uprisings inside Iran. So they got into a tunnel, which is going to take some time. It's like the Soviet bloc, one country after the other started to be challenged by its own opposition. But for now, they're going to try, that's the Iranian regime, the Khomeini regime, they're going to try to protect themselves, to buy their security, to consolidate wherever they have a majority Shia country, and the only one at this point in time is going to be Iraq.
And what are your thoughts, Walid, on what is happening inside Syria right now? A lot of jubilation, clearly, having got rid of the tyrant Assad. We've now got a new jihadi-led leadership taking shape. They've named this transitional head, Mohammed al-Bashar. What do we know about him, and what are your thoughts on the people taking over in Syria?
Well, first of all, in the West, there is this confusion about, oh, these are the rebels. People think that the next morning you're going to have the liberals or social democrats ruling Syria. Not at all. This is when the Nazis collapsed or were withdrawn in World War II, and the Soviets were coming as a liberator. And then Eastern Europeans understood that was not the case. I'm being very direct about this matter. We have that debate also in Washington, and there is some sort of confusion. We're not confused. We can see it like with an X-ray. Syria was ruled by Khomeini-backed Baathists. That regime collapsed. Those who took over are the most vocal are the liberals now in Damascus. They're very happy. I understand them. They are enjoying the departure of a monster regime that killed hundreds and thousands of people. Immediately below that, you see Mohammed al-Bashar, now the appointed prime minister, but his boss as Julani. I mean, these are jihadists. I mean, there is no doubt about it. Some newspapers say, well, they are being transformed. Give me the evidence. Where is that declaration that would say we have moved from jihadism to, political democracy? It's very unclear. But to us, those who follow, there will be another bump in Syria, which is when the population, the seculars, the minorities, may be challenging, but not immediately. This regime, this commander, al-Julani, are very smart. I call them the Morsi-like smart, meaning they don't want to show the world that they are ISIS, that they are Al-Qaeda. First of all, their priority is to control the institutions. Second, to control the money. Third, to control the oil. And of course, what Israel has done is very smart to have them not control the weapons of mass destruction, the chemicals, etc. That's where we are at this stage in the war.
And we've got just over a month to go before President-elect Donald Trump takes power. What will be his position, Walid, on Syria and on Iran?
He has already issued a couple tweets. The most important one says, we don't meddle in the situation inside Syria. But when he issued that, the Assad regime was not down yet. So now, who's going to meddle? Basically, you have the Kurds going to protect their territory in the northeast, and that's it. We have a couple bases there. I'm sure that he will keep them. He will have to make that call once he is operational in the afternoon of January the 20th. But I believe that this regime, the new regime now taken over, will not act in a way that would draw international reactions on the first 6 months. But the Kurds are nervous, the Druze are nervous, the Israelis are taking steps as we can see them because they can. The Alawites are extremely, afraid of reprisals, and that, as I said, could spill off into Lebanon. It's not going to be easy to handle with a regime that toppled a very big danger for Israel and the United States, which is the Assad regime, but at the same time, the incoming regime may look like the Taliban, but with a different coat.